crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
Is Discover Crypto, where we discover the bottom of Bitcoin's price. It is a red day. Some are calling it's going to be the blackest of Mondays. But I tell you what fills me with joy is you smashing the like button as you come in on this live show. We bring you live content 5 days a week. We almost went live with you last night. I'm here with Josh. Josh rode a bicycle to work. Did you sell your vehicle?
Oh, hey, yeah, I totally honestly I thought it was another Fight Club reference, honestly, for 2 seconds. I was prepped for the Monday.
So poor. That's all.
Monday bash. Yes, we liquidated the Tesla over the weekend. All hope is lost. The market today. Look at the whiplash. Just real quick, guys, starting this off. This is our emotions this morning. Just up, down, up, down, up, down here. The SPX looks like a meme coin. In terms of the volatility that's taking place. But we got a lot of news to break down today, guys. We got everything from the Federal Reserve having a meeting today, a private meeting. Are they going to be cutting interest rates? We're going to be talking about that, as well as a bunch of key levels we need to be watching and tariff negotiations. But DZ, how was your weekend? What a way to start off Monday.
Well, Cardano back down to 50 cents. So, I just thought about just leaving crypto forever. No, we do have some cash on the sidelines. I want to go ahead and say Sunday night this morning, I deployed another 10%. So I'm about 30% deployed. So I'm not saying the bottom is in, but I do have a DCA strategy. We're trying to warn you, have some cash on the sidelines for the dips like this. And we're seeing it. We're going to talk about stocks. We're going to talk about crypto. We're going to talk about who's left in the market and where do we go from here. We got some key levels for some key altcoins. If you hold Solana, if you hold Cardano, if you hold XRP, you're going to need to stick around because are these going to be buying opportunities or are we waiting for some lower levels? So we'll tell you exactly what we're doing with our spot crypto and our spot cash on the sidelines. So let's go ahead and look at crypto. I'm going to hit refresh because we're seeing a nice little bounce. Josh brought up the whipsaw action. Looked like there was some rumors that someone in Trump's administration said 90-day pause on the tariffs. That doesn't seem to be true. We haven't seen any real indications. This kind of spread from a CNBC, just saying the headline. We don't know where the headline came from. It spread like wildfire. And then that's when we saw $4 trillion added to equities. But Bitcoin is up 2.5% in the last hour. Ethereum up 4.5%. XRP up almost 6% in the last hour. But if we look at the 24-hour, look at that. ETH is down 11%, even after gaining 5%. BNB down 5%. Solana down 8%. Dogecoin almost down 10%. Cardano down about 9%. So we're seeing a lot of pain. If we look at the biggest losers, first, shout out to Caspa, nice little bright spot here. But if we look at the biggest losers, it is ETH and the ETH wrapped derivatives. Smoke it, just losing all of their value. Now, TJ, Josh, is ETH done? What is going on with ETH here?
Well, it's so hot. I'll tell you that
yeah,
much.
it's brutal. I mean, I haven't posted this yet, but I saw some stuff over the weekend over the prices, and I was about to share it on the Discover Crypto X account. If you guys aren't following that, make sure to go check it out. A lot of really good stuff happening last night. But yeah, ETH is actually pushing 2018 price levels. Like it was within $100 of where the price was in 2018, which is just brutal when you consider it. I don't know. That's a great question. Is it going to come back? I think it will. It's still very widely used as far as being critical in the BUIDL fund. That's one of the main things I'm looking at right now as far as it's big in DeFi. I do think that's going to maintain. But, there's definitely a lot of fear rolling around in my head about, will the value accrual come back to that main chain or will it be all on the L2s and the dApps and the Aves and all the things built on top of it? I'm hedged because I have some of both. But yeah, Ethereum has, and then you got also Eric Trump's tweet, it's down almost 50% or more from where he said, oh, great time to buy him to add ETH here. What's that?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, it was a wild night, wild weekend. Let us know in the chat who was up watching it last night or online. We almost, like DZ mentioned, almost went live here. We probably should have. We're going to probably be doing more of those breaking live streams here very soon. But If not, we're definitely all on X talking about it. We were chatting about it in our Discord, which we haven't fully opened up to the public yet, but that's going to be coming soon as well. So if you're interested in any of those things, let us know in the chat. Hit the like button. And let us know how you're feeling. Are you adding more here? Are you feeling the fear? We're going to talk about kind of our strategies. DZ already mentioned his. He did add some there. I'm adding some as well. I see this as a great opportunity. There's not a ton of fear. It's not fun. It doesn't feel great. But it's not like I'm considering selling at these levels. And I would encourage all of you guys not to sell at these levels. You know, this is kind of the panic selling is almost one of the worst things you can do in investing in general, especially crypto, though. We see it happen all the time. So I do think a lot of this will shake out throughout the summer over the next couple months, if not sooner. But we're going to talk about that a lot as the show goes on. So,
all right. And as the show goes on, I see people talking about Japan, talking about some other countries. If you're overseas, we're going to look at every country right here. Global stock market is cratering here. Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, all down around 10% or more. China down about 7%. Germany and Spain also with some major pullbacks here. And if we look at the stock market, a sea of red this morning upon the open, 2.1 trillion wiped out. Some of the comments were just really pretty funny. I was rich for about 2 months in 2024. So tired of winning in reverse. Part of winning as Trump drops the red candles. Stock investors right now. Have you said thank you once? Did you say thank you? Everything is fine. This is fine. So tons of funny comments as people just trying to laugh through the pain here. I wanted to pull up Trump's posts and look live. This is actually what he is posting. Has he posted in the last 5-10 minutes? Looks like he has posted 8 minutes ago. Rates are plummeting. Oil prices are plummeting. Deregulation is happening. Trump is not going to bend. So here he is reposting the fact that he is not going to bend the knee. So suggesting potential more pain up ahead of us. Here he is posting 15 minutes ago, and the man's going crazy this morning. He knows that he has to hit the comms because the Trump tariffs are brutalizing the stock markets, brutalizing crypto right now. He did tell reporters he's not intentionally engineering a market sell-off, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. Now, fellas, did you know I found the medicine?
oh yeah,
Yeah, it's right here.
Yep.
There you go. There's
Oh,
the medicine right there.
It is Blue Chew. That is
World's
the only
largest.
way this chart's ever going to get an erection again.
Yeah.
All right. It took me like 10 minutes to get Grok to give me that photo.
Did
They
that-
would
did
not
you
make
make
the
that photo?
pills large. Yeah, I
Yeah.
made that photo.
Oh,
They
that was
wouldn't make the
good.
pills large. And then I said, no, larger, like a basketball size. Started giving me people holding basketballs. I'm like, son of, at least a foot wide. And then it just started having feet pics with the businessman in a suit. I was like, can you just give me a big pill?
Like, I know
Yeah.
markets are down bad, but I didn't know they were feet pick bad.
Yeah,
dude.
DZ's
That's,
over here making feet picks on Grok. He didn't even mean it, but
Wait a minute. Did
Yeah.
it look at my suggested? No, of
He's
course
like,
not,
yeah.
folks. All right. Well, back
AI
to
agent.
back to Trump here. They hit all countries with a 10% tariff. Those a few days ago, slapped some at higher rates, including China, EU, and Japan at 24%. At the same time, crypto fear and greed, which saw this measures the sentiment for Bitcoin and other crypto, returned to 23. I went to the fear and greed. Stock markets now down to 4.
It's a
on
negative.
stock
Dude.
markets.
It's a negative at this point.
That
It
is
just.
insane. Oh, it literally just went to
Oh
5.
my
live.
God! The
Whoa.
bottom's in.
It's back, folks. It's back.
Yeah.
TJ, have you ever seen fear that fearful?
No.
no,
It's
I
like a
think this
Dementor.
It's
that's
at an all-time low.
that's what's interesting. Like this is below where we were in COVID 2020 crash, which
People are that scared of Trump, dude.
yeah, people are terrified of this, which is interesting to me because the feeling that I like, as far as my feeling right now, it's way less fear than March 2020, because that was the only time I was really starting to, and maybe it's because it was, you know, I had less experience in the market. I'm not sure, but at that point when it was happening back then, March 2020, I was starting to question if Bitcoin and crypto was viable at all. Like if it was really, if none of this is real, if this is going to go to zero at this point with what's happening in the world, there's no question in my mind. It's viable and relevant. It's going to be, it's an industry that's here to stay. There's going to be market volatility. Obviously, you know, there's huge turmoil in the markets right now, which again, you could argue was very predictable. Like many people said, hey, when this happens, it's going to be chaos in the markets, and it's creating chaos, and you know they're going to renegotiate these deals. Everybody out there, I believe everybody except China has now said we want to negotiate better deals. I think most of these will get negotiated. Most of these will get dropped. This is all posturing, but it's fascinating to watch the markets react to it so violently. I do think we're going to get rate cuts. I think this is increasing the chance of rate cuts. The other thing that was really crazy to watch the last couple of days is the treasury bills have been just almost as volatile as the stock market. You saw them plunge, and then they skyrocketed back up, and then they were whips on like crazy too, which, you know, those are supposed to be the stable ones. And so when you see T-bills and actual, you know, supposed to be fixed income, steady, safe haven assets showing volatility, to me, that shows the signs that this entire system is no longer viable, about to break, getting revamped, however you want to say it. We are changing out of the old money system that we've run for the last, you know, 100 years, essentially. I mean, and it's been fiat since the 70s, but essentially this dollar system is getting completely changed. Now, you're gotta understand there's gonna be chaos when that happens, and we all know the system we're heading towards. It's gonna be a gold-backed, Bitcoin-backed, you know, hard asset-backed system, not a fiat-backed system. But it's really crazy to watch that turnover happen and to see things that, you know, it's really rocking the world of people that have built their whole career and lived their whole life in these stable assets. So to me, this is a fun time in history. We're literally witnessing history, and we get to be a part of it, which is really, really cool. But this is not for the faint of heart. This is not for the weak. I mean, as Trump also said today, don't be weak, don't be stupid, don't panic sell, because, you know, this is just getting started. And I think it's going to take a couple of months for this to completely finish. But
yeah, don't be a panicking.
Yeah, panicking.
I don't even think it's good. I think it's going to be quick. I think judging by how quick these charts are moving, I think it's. I mean, I agree. I guess a couple months is June still.
Well, yeah,
June's
that's what I'm
still
saying.
the target,
June,
man.
Yeah.
I wish we got because I did not predict the this crash as much, man. It makes sense. It makes sense to clean up the governments. It makes sense to. Obviously, the tariffs are working. The negotiations are working. The only country that has a folded debt is China, and I don't expect that to be. We all know that's going to take the longest. Right?
Well,
so
and it's happening right now. Who had the chaos in the market? That's what DZ was just pulling up.
Yeah,
what caused this dip? It was all the Asian markets that opened last night, and they got decimated. They're much more interested in negotiating
like
today than they were Friday.
10.7%, I think. It's, you know, because again, they rely on our market. So it's going to be interesting to see how long or what negotiates out of those. But man, a volatile 24 hours. I wanted to shout out a community member one last time here real quick, which was Crypto Crank. Dude has been an absolute goat. We've been trading like back to back nonstop in the Telegram for months and months and months and months and months. And he had a target that he pretty much hit. We're giving it directly to him on the Wyckoff redistribution. So Wyckoff is taking place, which means you're expecting pretty massive manipulation of these markets here. Your support's down at the 70. Actually, sorry, I got to zoom out a little bit more. It would have been the 70. It tapped it. It pretty much tapped it. It missed it by like $200. But man, oh man, to everybody that got into the shorts and absolutely just profited off this entire market move. Very, very, very predicted by our boy Crypto Crank in the chat. So I just want to get some W's out there. A lot of you guys know him. Whoop whoop in the chat. I just think it's well deserved, man. You guys have been absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, good job, everybody in the trades. I dipped my toe in the markets this morning. I'm in a little bit, just a little Cardano long right here. Looks like maybe got lucky just catching a bottom. I was doing my research this morning, and I noticed that, okay, I see a little bit of support. Felt a little bit lower, but right now we're close to 100% profit. So this is L Bank. We got a link down below. Now, looking at the tariffs, so we kind of covered the tariffs here. A lot of money, waiting to be, invested into the market till we get some clarity here. But there's other things to know this week. A lot of people are wondering, is this going to be Black Monday 2.0? 5 things. I'm not going to look at all 5, but just the more important things to look at this week. So Bitcoin giving up bull market support lines left and right as the new death cross completed on the Bitcoin daily chart. We're going to look at that in a second. Crypto and TradFi participants are drawing comparisons to Black Monday 1987 and the COVID crashes in March. Sentiment everywhere non-existent. TradFi lowest score in history. We're looking at that just earlier. Some levels to pay attention to after slipping below 75. Obviously, another level is going to be 69K. It's the level that first appeared in 2021. This is Bitcoin's last chance to maintain its macro uptrend structure, according to Kevin Svensson, he summarized here. And also, we have the death cross was crossed on the daily timeframes. This is a typically bearish signal. is the 50-day moving average crossing below the 200-day equivalent here. Let's go ahead and look at that. So 200-day, we've been having all types of issues with TradingView, but you can see it right here, the green line and the blue line. This is typically going to be bearish, but sometimes it is only short-lived. It doesn't always spell just a macro bear market like it did here in 2021. You can see the bear cross or the death cross. Boom. That was the perfect time to get out of Bitcoin. Didn't get a golden cross until February 2023. But we also had a short-lived death cross that happened in August 2024. And if we measure this one lasted for about 77 days. So 2.5 months. We're in a bearish period before we finally accumulated some strength in the market, and then Bitcoin went on to its next level. Some other things we need to look at. Inflation data is going to be happening later this week. March prints of the CPI and the PPI are due April 10th and April 11th. So that's 3 and 4 days from now. So are we going to see a repeat here? No one knows for sure, obviously, but there's some interesting data on Polymarket that we're going to be discussing in a little bit. Now, we were talking about the recovery, TJ. I think it's a good time.
Yeah.
What type of recovery, Josh? This, me and TJ were talking this morning. I feel like it's going to recover one of two ways. It's either going to range and then it bounces, Josh, or do you think we get a V-shaped recovery?
I think we zigzag. it's yeah. I mean, there's so many things that we could see over the course of the next 24 hours. I mean, you saw the stock market, the SPX has moved by like what, $7 trillion in the course of 45 minutes. This is an unprecedented time in these markets here. And while Bitcoin's back almost to 80K here, $79,000 or so, trying to break past that 200 moving average on the 10-minute here, we are getting a little bit of buy-in pressure come back into the markets. We expect the negotiations to roll out. I don't expect, though, the Feds to back down. I don't see that. I haven't seen Jerome Powell ever panic. Even in COVID, there wasn't much panic. I mean, they were very much quick to move forward with, like, of course, dropping the interest rates, etc. But that's just such a different time. We printed trillions upon trillions of dollars. So if we were to see, I would be shocked. And, maybe chat agrees with this, maybe you don't. I would be shocked to see them decide to do an emergency rate cut. Now, I want them to. I want to end the Fed. I don't think the Fed should exist. They artificially create and produce the inflationary mechanics that it shouldn't exist in this market. But because of that, like, you're looking at April 10th still. So we're now 3 days away from that. That is going to be on Wednesday or Thursday this week, which is going to be the CPI data report. If that comes out positive, markets are going to get a little bit of boost. And of course, I think within the next 3 days, I mean, it is 10:57 a.m. DZ, and I think we've had more breaking news announcements than the last 4 weeks combined. So if you guys are in this market, we keep saying this, under 80K Bitcoin, I think is an absolute steal. If you're a long-term investor and you're dollar cost averaging, under 80K Bitcoin is like just a perfect pickup. Chainlink's at $11.37. Ondo's at, honestly, back to the same price as it was on Friday. Like, there's some great discounts at these points. And if you guys can stomach the volatility, DCA is the idea right now. If you're a trader, you're going to have probably some good months, some bad months. You're going to be bouncing around. You should be taking advantage of those scalps, but you should just be cautious. Have those stop losses. Be safe. But yeah, I would say, I would expect some sideways action here as we ping pong between the new trading range.
I've been thinking about it a lot since we talked about it this morning. It's a great question, and it depends, I guess, a little bit on how you define V shape. I'd say if we get back above 80, in that 84 range, or close to 84, that would be considered somewhat of a V shape. But obviously, that's down below even from the 90K levels and stuff like that. So I do think let's say by the end of this week, right? You think if we're above 84K by Friday, you would consider that V-shaped recovery?
You get that if China opens up and loosens negotiations. I mean, there's many ways you can get that. Like, if the Fed came out today and was like, we're going to cut it, the Fed should cut interest rates. There's no reason for them to have.
I agree with what you're saying, though. I don't see neither Jerome Powell or Trump are backing down.
And maybe it happens, and then people go, yeah, that was the most predictable thing ever, Josh.
Right. And they've made that very clear. Like, Powell, I don't think is going to do anything beyond. I think the rate cuts are coming in May. The May meeting.
June.
Yeah. I mean, their odds are still on June. They've come up to, I think it's close to 50-50 now for May.
Back down to 30 after the.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because yesterday it was all the way up to like 46-47%. So
it was at 50 this morning. When I came in, it was at 50, and then they announced it was fake news that the tariff thing was
back off.
Yeah, and then now it's back down to Dude, this thing's so volatile. It's 34% now.
Yeah. So I still think we see rate cuts May to June, like we've been calling for the whole time. May wouldn't surprise me one bit now. Like if they do them a little earlier than they were planning. I do not expect emergency like a lot of people are. And we shared the news this morning also about the closed door meeting. The Fed is having a closed door meeting today. They usually do that. It's like a monthly meeting. So it's not like an emergency meeting, but a lot of people are.
Yeah, there wasn't a signal chat on Sunday night, where they added, "Hey, everybody, we got to have an emergency meeting on a Monday."
Yeah, and just remember, crazy, guys, though. While our portfolios might be down a little bit, Elon Musk is down, I think, $150 billion. So
I'm gonna pull up the list of all the richest billionaires. We're gonna look at that list later.
Only person up is there's one guy that's up, and you guys probably know who he is.
He's hitting that buffet of cheap equities.
Oh yeah.
It was funny though that Powell did say in his speech or in the interview questions last week that they do have like a private chat with him and the other central bankers.
Yeah.
And he said he wouldn't really go into details about it, doesn't like to disclose it, but
I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly. There's basically 6 people that control the entire global economy, which that is my problem in a lot of ways.
Globalist.
With the Fed.
Agenda.
A man once had 5 sons.
The Fed shouldn't exist. It just but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. These tariffs, they're gonna work. They're just gonna work. It's just incredibly volatile. It's been a rough ride. I made this image here. This is the image I put on Twitter. Let me show you guys what I posted last night. This is what it feels like right now to be bullish on this plan here. It's how it feels to support Trump's plan here. It's just they're smiling, beat up in the hospital bed right now. So it is not easy, but I think it's crazy. I think it's outlandish to turn bearish at these levels. I think it's seriously, the light is at the end of the tunnel. Like the negotiations say every single day. It's almost every single hour. There's a new announcement of a new country that is folding to these negotiations. Usually the loudest people are the wrong people. The same people that were screaming over COVID, that were screaming over, Hunter Biden's laptop, that were screaming over, everything we saw over the last 4 years, changing the definition of a recession. Like that is where we're at today. And I think a lot of that noise, if you filter through it, it's not going to be easy. But we are going to see some significant upside here in these markets. And, again, I think we can move to these next articles, but under 80K is a buying opportunity.
Lots of crazy stuff. Now, talking about just quick V-shape, this is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I pulled up the 1987 crash right there. You can see that one was a little bit more slow, then traded sideways for a while before it had a nice recovery.
What's a while? I can't see from here.
So it looks like, kind of hit some of these same levels at May 1990. And it didn't really have a nice breakout till December 1992, like a little bit of a pump there.
A few
then
months,
you can even argue didn't really have a nice little pump until January 1995.
Wow.
What is this? I am blind.
So Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now, we did have the 01 crash. Something kind of happened. .com started to boom or started to bust. And then we had a plane crash in 2001. So huge crash in the markets there. I would argue that's a V-shaped recovery. This one, we closed halfway there as a V, and then more slowly, shortly after that, sharp V-shaped recovery. So no one knows obviously what's going to happen here, but I'm leaning towards the V-shape.
Real quick, sorry, because Josh's comment that saying tariffs work really triggered the chat. So when you say they work, are you talking about specifically the tariffs, or are you talking about
the
leverage?
whole plan that we posted on February 2nd is the tariffs. Most of them are going to more than likely be canceled or non-existent within the next year, if not even way quicker than that, potentially even the next month or the next week. It's they ran on tariffs. They campaign on this. This is nothing new. This is nothing shocking. What's shocking to me is the reaction of the market, is Wall Street going, kind of freaking out over, like, I did not predict the downside action there, but the actual tariff effect is working. Oil costs are down. Interest rates are dropping. Your U.S. 10-year yield is falling off a cliff. It's like forcing the hand of the Fed without getting the Fed to actually cut those interest rates. That's exactly what they wanted. So
what's also, I would argue, it's also forcing the hand of every other nation that says, oh, no, we don't want to negotiate any of this stuff. It says, all right, well, then, because you got to remember, our markets might be crashing, but all other markets are crashing too, and they're crashing harder.
If it wasn't working, why are these other nations negotiating?
Right.
And so it's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's not going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But the plan is like rolling. It's going through. It's going.
One last. It is an interesting comment where you hear, these tariffs are bad. Tariffs are bad. I haven't heard a good rebuttal. Well, if they're so bad, how come they have them? And I still really haven't.
No one answers that question.
No one answers that question. That is
or
if
it's only a tax on the American taxpayer, like if it's or the American consumer, why would other countries care? So it's like you're seeing the negotiations roll out. Like every single day, there's a new win that's taking place out there. But in terms of the market volatility, That's what hurts the most. But you got to realize that also, 88% of the stock market is controlled by like the top 10% or the top 8%. I forget the numbers and the logistics off of it. So, it's going to feel very, very rough. It's going to feel volatile, but I expect the market to do what it always does. And no one's going to be talking about this dip in a year. Like, it's when we're back at all-time highs, just like the last 4 dips that we've had in the last 10 years, like the corrections are normal. They happen every single 18 months. They get a 20% correction in the stock market. You're going to it's going to take a little bit of time. But it also, what I'm worried about too is there's so much bullishness around Bitcoin. You might get this like flash week to 74K. I mean, look at this. If nobody bought this last night, right? No one was DCAing into these markets. More or less, people were capitulating out of the market. So if Bitcoin just went to 90K from here, that's the max pain. The max pain is now most of your retail is out of the market. They're primarily in altcoins that are down 95%, 99%. They have no money to dollar cost average into this market. And the people that are getting hurt the worst right now is Wall Street. It's like you're watching the Magnificent Seven are down like 40%, 35%. The people that were wanting Tesla's stock to crash, there you go. It's you're watching these networks get wiped out overnight, and you're getting this restructuring of these markets. We don't expect to manufacture everything in the United States. That's impossible. But to have an even playing field, to have these tariff conversations, these negotiations, I think you're going to see them end positively.
I will say the volatility is great if you're running DeFi and any liquidity stuff. You're earning like crazy on very modest pools right now. So
yeah, if you run an exchange, probably did pretty well over the last 48 hours. We do have a warning signal for this bull run though. There's a couple. You're going to hear bull market's over, bull market's not dead yet. This is kind of pointing towards bull market not dead yet. This is something that it's pretty much infallible. This is from Virtual Bacon. Go ahead.
No, I want to hear from the chat too, because this was a question I was going to ask. While you're covering this, let us know in the chat. Was 109 the top? Top if you think it was, not if you think it wasn't. So top if you think 109 was the top, not if you think we're still going higher, within the next 12 months, so to speak. So then go ahead.
Just we got people bullish thinking 91K coming soon. Not top, no. All right. Well, here's from Virtual Bacon. I would say, very, very smart individual here.
Mm-hmm.
Buying Bitcoin at 75K. So he's a buyer at 75K. Either we bounce back within the week or the 50-week simple moving average gets broken. Every single bull run has respected the 50-week moving average. So the risk reward here for long is great. Are you guys ready to look at the 50-week moving average?
Yeah, I guess.
It is the green line right here. And folks, we are hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
We've never closed the weekly candle below it or even got the body below it, but have we wicked into it into the past? So what we're doing is we're looking at we're looking at the 50-week moving average, this green line right here. Don't worry about the blue one, the 50-week. So during this bull run, look at that. So during that period where we had the mini death cross, remember we had the mini death cross here on the daily, wicked into it once, wicked into it twice, try to do it a third, maybe even a fourth time. Maintain the bull run during that period. Also, right here, you can see, getting out of the bear market required hitting against the 50-week moving average. Wicked into it. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th week, we burst through. And then you can also see coming down, trying to retest the green line. So we have tested the green line, which is the 50-week simple moving average. This has been a harbinger of past cycles. You can see we also fell below it in March 2020, but after that, maintained the entire bull run. But we did have 1, 2, 3 wicks into it in 2021. What do we have right here? 1, 2, 3 wicks into it.
Interesting. Can you look at the March 2020 section a little bit more? I just want to see. I don't know if there's correlation there. I'm just curious because this does, as far as panic goes, feels similar.
Log.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. There you go. So we went. How long were we? Those are weekly candles.
Weekly candles.
How many weeks were we below it?
We dipped into it here. So 1 week, 2 week, 3, 4. Measure. There's too many. Misa can't count without my shoes off. Here we are going 77 days. So 11 weeks.
11 weeks. So that's about 2 months.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that could play. We could almost mirror if this takes until June to play out, which is again when we were expecting rate cuts. And again, there's a difference between QE and rate cuts where, we could see potentially both before this year runs out, but definitely expecting rate cuts. They've been priced in, but that would align very well with what we saw happen in March. Yeah. And then by April, May,
really every bull run. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would line up very similarly. So, yeah, interesting. That actually makes me feel a lot better.
Makes me feel a lot better too. Also, we have the little yellow trend line that we identified. I want to say it was on Friday. Maybe we did it earlier in the week. And this is pretty simple. You catch the May or April top, November tops here. And if we go to the weekly, you can actually see this is respecting the candle bodies as I've lost everything. Here we go. Oh, that's right. We're on log. We'll keep it on regular here. All right. So you can see the weekly candles right here. This is a really good level for Bitcoin. Didn't really close below or above this on the weekly. So wicked into it, hit it perfectly. And then you see right where we're at right now. But if we zoom into the daily, look at that. Look at the daily zooming in. And we go to the 4 hour. Look at that. So we're seeing a lot of strength on this old historical level. We tested it here. Was that the 10th of March? Testing it again around the 7th of April. Important level to keep an eye out. So there's indications that it is not over, that we could bounce from here. And then a lot of people are going to be very upset that they sold all their crypto. I don't want that to be you folks. If you do have cash on the sidelines, though, how about that Warren Buffett? How about that Warren Buffett? Y'all ready to look at the billionaire list to see the winners and the losers of the billionaire class?
I've seen this. He crushes it. So
yeah. So this is circulating the rounds. I'm pretty sure it's fairly accurate. I've seen a lot of people report on this. The richest billionaires that are reported, maybe there's some sheiks or some dictators, but Musk, Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, all down significantly. Year to date, Elon Musk is down 130 billion. Jeff Bezos down 45 billion. Bill Gates is only down 3 billion. But look at Warren Buffett, the only billionaire in the green. Warren Buffett, he has added 12 billion year to date.
He literally sold the top. Because remember he was selling, I think, a ton of Apple stock right there at the absolute peak. I mean, he's already been building his cash position, but it's amazing when you just look at the raw numbers like that. Every other wealthy on paper, at least individual wealthiest people in the world, down bad. Buffett,
Nvidia guy, all the way down here on the bottom of the list, but he's lost 31 billion.
Wow.
Whoo, man.
Crazy. I saw somebody say this was pretty funny. Trump promised to no capital gains tax. Well, promises made, promises kept. There are now no capital gains on the entire stock market.
Oh,
because he just wiped them all out.
He's like a troll under a bridge. Like,
he's actually taxing losses now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was good.
Well, sometimes you need to take a step back. You got to look at what's really happening. If you hold Bitcoin, I would not be selling my Bitcoin now. If anything, I'm going to if things keep dumping, I'll DCA another 10%, probably strictly into Bitcoin. But the Winklevi, this is from Cameron. I think this is a really, really good chart here. What seems to be happening, your money's flat while gold goes up. What's really happening, gold is flat, your money's losing value. But what's actually happening, gold is flat, money loses value, Bitcoin is gaining. So that's just pretty interesting. Let's look at some Polymarket bets here. Look at the 1 week change of odds for a U.S. recession in 2025. Josh, it is now more likely than not, according to Polymarket, according to people putting their millions of dollars down, we will hit a recession. Disco fam, are we going to hit a recession in 2025? Do you think we hit a recession, Josh or TJ? No. All right, so you're with the 43.
I think the hardest thing to do in the world right now is support these tariffs. I am not going to go with mainstream media, especially when the data is strong. The economy is strong right now. You're 2 months away from the Feds cutting. Inflation or tariffs aren't inflationary. They cause inflation once. So it's like those data points should be priced in within 2-3 months either way. And again, we don't know how tense these negotiations are going to be. We've seen Vietnam, Thailand, India. You saw the entire European Union come out this morning. Israel. The list goes on in terms of negotiations that are starting to roll out here. So, look, I'm just not going to fold. I think that would be the biggest mistake here is for me now to turn bearish at the bottom of this market trend when the tariffs are again working, or at least their plan and strategy is working for these negotiations. We're expecting trade deals. We're not expecting these tariffs to be on the market forever. So
let me ask you a question. Do we expect to sell American vehicles in Taiwan?
Not necessarily, but Taiwan would be the wrong. Maybe Japan. Maybe China. Yeah,
choose your Asian country with high tariffs.
I don't think it's not as much about us like being the ones that are selling the products there. It's just simply having the fair trade value that is leveling that playing field. Like I don't expect us to be moving all the sweatshops that are in China to the United States. Maybe we'll automate a lot of that. Like, sure, that's something that could happen. That's a different discussion. Maybe they decide to do something.
Bring back prison labor. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I would love that. Bring back homeless labor. What are you doing on the streets, dude? Like, put at least some GDP back into our
Not the
economy.
1930s, Josh.
Dude, I think homeless people should be in labor camps. I swear
Hey,
to God.
1930s was back before, like go take me back to 1913 before the Fed. I'll take that.
Yeah, if you're on food stamps and you're not getting a job and you're just like sitting on the streets, like just living under a bridge, like dude, like yeah, we can do better as a society. But in terms of an actual recession, everybody is screaming recession. Like everybody that you talk to, is screaming recession. And if you're not screaming recession, you're a piece of shit. Like they're just targeting you. Like you're like it's hard. It's hard to support the strategy. I'm not gonna lie. It is very hard to support the strategy. So all I'm gonna say is I don't think we're gonna enter that recession. The economic data is too strong. Could you get a quarter of downside action in the stock market? Sure, but stocks aren't the economy. And if we start reevaluating that, I think just like you saw in 7 minutes this morning, where an announcement of a pause on tariffs caused the market to shoot up by 10% on the SPX, $7 trillion. We could be out of this in a week. We could be out of this in a month. So to say that we are going to enter a recession, which is 2 negative quarters of GDP growth, growth domestic to the production, I don't see us entering into 2 negative quarters of GDP within the U.S.
Right. All right. So there's another wild.
And I could be wrong. I just, it is. Yeah. Go.
It's easy to, I would say it's easier to predict short term. There's a reason macro investors are just famously never always right. It's very, very difficult. I would say Warren Buffett, obviously one of the better ones, but macro, learning what macro is going to look like 6 months from now, 12 months from now. It's just very difficult with trade wars and presidents and different elections. We do have another Polymarket. I want to look at the odds that we get rate cuts and just see what kind of change we experience over the weekend here. Fed decision in May, kind of flat from where it was over the weekend. You can see we went to the weekend about a 27% chance we get some sort of a decrease here or rate cuts. Looks like it peaked at 42% is where it peaked. So we had a 42% odds of getting some rate cuts. Right now, if you add the purple and the red, down to 31. So still about a 1 in 3 chance that we're going to get rate cuts in May. If we look at June, just specifically June here, we're looking at 45%. So now we're getting close to a coin toss.
Let's ask chat too, guys. You guys love the 1s and 2s. 1 in chat if you think there's going to be a recession this year. 2 if you don't.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, well let's get a poll from Discover Crypto too, because they tend to be the smartest community out there.
I don't even like playing this game for the most part. I'm interested to see what the chat
Part
thinks.
of the game.
They always change the definition. Like you said, that's 2. They say it's 2 negative GDP quarters.
I'm going off that's just textbook, by the way. I'm just going off what the textbook definition is.
Right.
Which 2 negative GDP quarters also doesn't equate 2 negative quarters of stock markets dipping.
No, that's what I was gonna say. You could argue things were we were in somewhat of a recession for the last couple of years, and we're trying to fix a lot of that stuff. You see that out there a lot. Like the country is at a bad financial state, and the world really is at a bad financial state. We've borrowed and borrowed and borrowed. We've run up debt after debt after debt, and there's no way. I mean, I remember having this conversation as like a 9-year-old or so with my dad. Like, well, if everybody in the world, like if we have tons of debt and everybody in the world has tons of debt to us, why don't we just call in what's owed and pay off our debt? And it's like, oh no, you can't just. People don't just pay back their debts. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense.
Breaking news.
All right, what do you got?
Chat's going crazy on the China thing. I see your Telcoin super chat. We'll talk about it right after this. Breaking news 26 seconds ago, literally 26 seconds ago. It's from 11:14.
Oh
so yeah,
my
Donald
God,
Trump posted
dude.
this. Breaking news. Trump says if China does not withdraw their 34% tariff by the 8th, we will impose an additional 50% tariff on China on the 9th. So they got until tomorrow to respond. And then the day after that, we're going harder.
They're playing chicken, man.
Oh, man. Let's go to Bitcoin. Let's look at the 5-minute chart here. How are the markets reacting? Not as bad as I would have expected there. So markets aren't happy, but the markets, could be a lot worse here. Let's go to the 1 minute. Boom, boom. And then the markets doesn't seem to care.
I mean, the SPX is wanting to hold 5K. It's below 5K right now. We'll see. We'll see. We do have some bullish indicators, though. I mean, you do got the Bitcoin dominance, or not the Bitcoin dominance chart, but the Bitcoin futures chart showing that we do have a huge futures gap above us now. So hopefully we'll we almost filled it on that gap this morning. That's absolutely
we have a gap
insane.
all the way
Look at that candlestick.
We have one all the way up to 84, don't we?
Yeah, there's one at 84 or 85 actually,
Yeah.
85K as well. So dude, strong movement in the markets right now.
All right. Well, I was going to read a Trump comment here talking about inflation, talking about tariffs, but he tweeted 48 seconds ago. So that's that Donald Trump, that old rapscallion. We do have Eleanor Tariff talking about something that is due today. And so while all this noise is happening, maybe there's something major brewing in crypto in the background. The federal agencies must report to the Treasury Department by the end of day today. And so they have to figure out how much crypto do they hold following the executive order signed by Trump earlier in the year. The disclosures, unfortunately, will remain confidential for now. It's unclear now or if and when the findings could be made public, according to Eleanor Tariff there. The disclosure follows Bitcoin's reserve establishment. This is after the the EO for the creation of the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and the broader digital asset stockpile. So we want to create these two things. First step, audit the federal agencies, see how much crypto they have. There's going to be some random drug dealer who had a laptop of XRP, and there's going to be cyber criminals, laundering Bitcoin. There's going to be ETH. There's going to be stablecoin, but unfortunately, it's going to be private. Now, besides, what's your dark horse crypto that the criminals are using? Maybe outside of the top 5 or 10. Is it Monero?
Dark horse?
Yeah, the dark horse crypto that the criminals are caught with. Outside the top 10,
Definitely like a Monero's. No,
Outside of the
honestly,
top 10?
they're not using. I doubt they're using. They're probably building their own liquidity.
What's that
bridges on
drug
Bitcoin,
dealer
dude.
whale have on his laptop?
I got the answer.
What's that?
Fartcoin. I'm dead serious.
Probably.
Why do you think it is acting different than the rest of the market? Why do you it can't be stopped? It can't be contained. Most
Not
of
a pun there.
No, exactly. No, it's everyone. Once it gets out, man, it just leaks out. No,
Smelling fishy. You know what I mean?
when you see a meme coin that doesn't act like most of the rest of the market, it's
Like
probably
Pepe in 22 or 23.
it's probably
when it
being
came out.
used for money laundering. That's just my 2 cents. You saw it a lot with the NFT markets back in the day. They moved over to meme coin markets. So if you want one, I mean, there's probably some obvious picks in the top 10, top 20, but if you want to go outside of that, that's what I'm picking.
We do have more breaking news on the tariffs here from White House trade advisor Peter Navarro said that the EU needs to go beyond tariff talks and start dismantling key non-tariff barriers like value-added taxes, VATs, if it wants relief from Trump's tariffs. So on top of it, because that's in response to the EU saying this, the commission saying it this morning. So EU must drop their VAT non-tariff barriers to cut the tariff deal, which is something that they were also looking at, and then of course negotiating the deficit issues. But
we did have a $2 super
giving you guys
chat.
news as it rolls out.
We did have a $2 super chat. What about Telcoin's bank charter? We're working already with like 10 different banks. That doesn't mean we're going to announce partnerships. So it looks like a little bit of a rumor. I wouldn't get too excited off of that. Altcoins that are small, it's going to be a very risky time to hold those, but they are going to have the best bounce. So if you have some inside info on this bank charter that no one else knows and is going to blow all the holders out of the water, by all means, trade on your inside information. I would hesitate to get the smaller, I don't want to say illiquid altcoins, but the smaller coins with the smaller market caps, smaller liquidity. But speaking of small liquidity, there's coins with big liquidity like Ether. Ethereum whale made $14 million Ethereum emergency deposit to avoid a $340 million liquidation. That is insane. That is a third of $1 billion for liquidation. So he had to inject millions of dollars in emergency capital to avoid the potential liquidation. To stave off liquidation, he deposited 10,000 ETH worth 14 million and 3.5 million of a stablecoin to raise the position's liquidation price. If it drops to around 1,100, 220,000 ETH will be liquidated. And I think this was on MakerDAO. And this is also after a whale lost 100 million on the DeFi lending platform Sky. So there's some whales out there. The people, probably have the most amount of information, maximum information extraction. They're still risking getting liquidated, folks. You got to be super, super careful. Let's look at the ETH chart.
Oh, God, please no.
We have another very important trend line to hold up here. I think this is on the weekly. I was kind of looking at this, and you'll see that the candle bodies, this is a strong support area. You see, this is only for the wicks. This is where the candle bodies ended. I guess I can move it up a millimeter there. But this level right here, this is the bear market bottoms of June 22 and November 22. And if we look, what is it looking? Look at that. What are we looking at here on the daily? What are we looking at on the 4-hour? Wow. Look at that bounce. So ETH, strong support. I'm not saying it can't fall below there, but ETH also has some just very strong historical support. Looking at some of these levels from multiple years ago. So we're seeing it with ETH. We're seeing it with Bitcoin. The difference between ETH and Bitcoin is using a trend line from the 2021 top. ETH is using his trend line from the 22 bottom. So a little bit different there, but both of those are at multi-year historical trend lines. I would say, strong likelihood that they bounce from those levels.
I agree. Like I said, ETH is almost bouncing off its 2018 peak at, it was like at 14 and change. Like it almost went all the way down there last night.
Let's measure it. This is how long ago it was this valuable. So the first time it hit this value, 1,500 days ago. So yeah, January 2021. In fact, it probably hit there.
That's what I'm saying. That peak right there is it got very close to that peak back in 2018. Whew. That was like 14, almost 1,500.
Yeah. So wild stuff on Ethereum there. We do have some Cardano news as well. Looks like Grayscale boosted Cardano top 3 in a smart contract fund. Not the best day for it, but it did put them above Avalanche, Polkadot, and Sui, and it's the third largest holding with 22%. So high percentages in Cardano, Ethereum, and Solana. The coin is called Ether there. And so we're seeing strong 30%, 29%, 22%, Avalanche, Sui, and Polkadot 7, 7, and 2. Cardano, though, at a very important level, 50-cent support. As of press time, is 53% gains from its election day. It started the election day at 33 cents. So zoom out, you're still up 53%. ADA could be on track to visit some of these 33-cent levels. But notably, the largest holders, 100 million to a billion Cardano, scooped up 120 million tokens since yesterday, right after Cardano's 12% drop to 55 cents. So the whales jumped in, started buying heavy at 55 cents. If the deep-pocketed players keep absorbing the sell pressure, maybe we get a strong bounce back to the 58, 60 cent range. Want to look at Cardano as well at a very important level. So you can see this level right here, a little bit of support, boom, then acted as resistance. Acted as support right there, a little bit of resistance if you look on the smaller time frames, acted as support, blasted through it, took a few days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 day, blasted through, support, and it looks like it is now fallen below that level. So keep an eye out on Cardano, also at a very important level. Better start climbing. Are we down on the trade? Okay, we're still up on the trade. We got it in a good spot there. I might keep this open for a long-term recovery after, maybe peeling off 50% for profit. Any other altcoins y'all looking at? I want to look at Solana too. Chat, let us know what you're holding.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. I did want to address a question that came up a minute ago about somebody was saying, is this what you voted for, right? Or is this what people voted for? And one thing that it was hitting me over the weekend that I feel like is lost on a lot of people is the wealthiest people in this country, the top 10%, own far and away a large majority of the stocks and equity. So the people that are really feeling this, market downturn are the richest, the wealthy elite, the people that you guys are always saying, tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. Well, that's what's happening right now. These tariffs, in my opinion, is the number one way to tax the rich. What it's doing is it's taking the overinflated portfolios, and those are taking a big hit. But the everyday working American that doesn't own a lot of assets, which again is most of them, they're not really feeling this. They're not really freaking out. They're actually excited to hear that these things are happening and we're going to see new things get renegotiated, and it could potentially lead to a better future for them over the next 2 to 10 years. They're not worried about the next 2 weeks to 2 months because they're not living or dying by what the stock market does. But they have been slowly bleeding out compared to what their dollar's been doing. And I think that's something that gets lost on a lot of people. The average person who voted for this strategy has been dying slowly over time. Their grocery bills have been going up. Their car insurance has been going up. They've been getting more and more and more behind on their credit card bill, and their wages have not been able to compensate. They went from having $2,000 on a credit card bill to having $6,000 to having $12,000 with no end in sight. And they feel like they went from drowning quickly, they feel like they went from drowning slowly to drowning quickly. And for the first time in a long time, they're feeling like they might be coming up and catching a breath of air. And so all of us, and I'm sure most of you guys watching this show who watch it every day, you do it because you do own assets. You do have things that are affected by these markets. But the large majority of the working Americans across this country do not. And even if you have a 401k, that's a long-term thing. You're not really worried about the today, tomorrow, unless you're already living on it. But again, That's a smaller percentage than most people realize. I think it's something like, I want to say it's the top 10% of Americans own like 88% of the equities, which is a huge, huge margin. So when you see this stuff happening and the media is coming out and telling you, oh, this is terrible for the average American, just remember, it's not really terrible for the average American. It's terrible for the average rich American. It's terrible for the people who own these media networks who care about what the stock market's doing. But for most people, it's really, just another day. They're just living their life. They're going to work. They're earning their income. And they're ready, willing, and able to watch this stuff play out because they're not living or dying by the stock market. And I think a lot of people forget that.
It's 42%, by the way, is how many people don't own the stock market.
Right. 42% don't own anything.
Don't own anything.
But the top 10% of people own almost 90% of the stock market. So the last 40% you're talking about, or the last 30 or 40, are fighting over the remaining 12%. So it's far and away, this is affecting the richest, most wealthy people in America. And that's what blows my mind is the media has everybody freaking out that this is affecting the little man. It's not. It's affecting the wealthy elites. That's it.
Yeah. And again, it's like, you just got to remind everybody that I loved seeing those tweets are like, is this what you voted for? It's like, yeah, this is what he campaigned on. The entire campaign was tariffs, and tariffs. And then tax cuts, and we're gonna get tax cuts as well. So
I mean, you saw that pill. We're taking our medicine.
Yeah, I guess we're just crazy. We're just crazy, dude.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
All right,
need some water.
So, are we still bullish on Ondo? Somebody wants to know.
Arrow, still bullish on Ondo. Also, Arrow. I DCA'd into an altcoin today. I was close to pulling the trigger on Arrow. The only reason I didn't do Arrow is I think my average cost basis was just so low. So I went in on a L1. That just looked good on the charts. It's a TA play, and it's a little bit of smatterings of the rich VCs will pump it. I got Say today.
I like it.
But I'm also bullish on Arrow and Ondo.
Say was the one we were looking at Friday with had that huge TVL spike. Was that right?
Yeah, it had the huge TVL spike and the historical, it probably fell below that one level we were looking at. But
yeah, I think, let me pull it up. Actually, I'll pull it up on the chart again. It was already at range lows.
We got some crazy Solana charts to show you guys. XRP charts. Breaking news though: Trump said all talks with China concerning meetings with the U.S. will be terminated. That's 8 minutes.
Yeah, Say's just been bleeding. It's literally.
It's not going well with China.
No.
This fair. We are currently witnessing one of the craziest days in market history. April 7th, 2025 will be a date reference for years to come. I would agree with that sentiment. Someone said SWE, one of the altcoins you want us to look at here. SWE, this is one of the ones, I can't remember if it was SWE or Solana. We're looking at this falling wedge, which is, typically breaks to the upside. I can't remember which one it was, but I remember saying to chat Thursday or Friday, I don't know if we could touch the bottom part of this range. It just seems like it's just going down so fast. The coin would have to fall off a cliff to touch that. Well, it fell off a cliff, and it looks like Solana and SWE coming down to those strong support ranges. Solana, fell below 100, wick down to the high 90s. SWE fell below $2, wick down at right now trading around 196. And so, both at pretty strong levels. Keep an eye out on SWE because there's another line below that it might end up wanting to go to. So, don't say you didn't warn you here. I did have that ETH chart. I drew out that ETH prediction, TJ. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
We only did a few hours. I wish I would have done longer. Here's the ETH chart. So there's that parallel. Let's go to 1 hour. I swear it looks a little better. I swear it does. I swear. It's not the worst. That wasn't the worst.
I think I'm just
going a lot harder curve to the downside.
I think I'm just going to stop looking at the Ethereum chart for a while and hope for the best. That's the only strategy I have left.
Though. Yeah, we should.
I was a little too bullish.
We should probably all just take a break for a week and come back.
Yeah.
No, but not if you're an XRP holder, because you saw the rumor.
No,
Eric's about to pump your XRP back.
Well, that didn't work out very well.
Guys, if you follow Constellation DAG, they've been hacked still. Do not fall for the DAG meme coins that are getting launched right now on the Constellation DAG.
Yeah,
I was going to say their X account.
Yeah, I just saw it again. They're still hacked.
Last time Eric tried to pump ETH, it didn't work out so well. So just take that with a grain of salt.
That's right. It's now like 50%. So he said buy ETH. Donald Trump's son is buying XRP. Looks like Brett_crypto. So it was a video between Mark Yusko and Scott Melker. So Mark Yusko, fairly credible. We like Scott Melker, another friend of the channel. I've done his show before. Fun guy, smart guy. Donald Trump's son is buying crypto. So he's been buying Bitcoin, XRP, and HBAR. I'm trying to figure out which son it is. I'm not sure which one. Maybe Don Jr., maybe Eric, though. But let's look at the XRP chart. This is just another chart looking ugly. But if you zoom out, all right, we're just kind of in a range right here. If we go to the 1 hour, how close do we come down? Wow, look at that. Pretty strong support, pretty strong bounce from there. If we do go back to the top of the range, what are we looking at for XRP? So let me draw this out. All right, so heading back to the top of the range from where we're at right here, you're looking at a nice 20% pump. XRP could very easily get above $2, but $2 is going to be a very important level for XRP. Definitely needs to get back to the top part of this range and then break out, and then that's when we can get a nice little bull run. I'm hesitant to draw this. I think we beat against that, go below, come down, and then do that. We'll see. We'll check back that towards the end of April. I don't know if that'll play out, but we're hoping, right? We're keeping our fingers crossed. Josh, what anything you thinking about here? Looks like maybe it was Eric Trump.
Well, right now I'm trying to see if Donald Trump's meeting, obviously, with the, I don't know if you guys know, he's meeting with the LA Dodgers after their World Series championship today. So I'm trying to watch and see if there's going to be a press conference right after, because the reporters will be asking nothing about
Oh,
baseball.
I feel the baseball player is going to be asking them market questions.
Yeah, they're going to be like,
finance
hey, yo, is my bat about to jump 2,000% in price because there's a tariff on lumber that doesn't exist? No, I don't know. So I'll pull this up here in just a second. They're just now all meeting together, which means he'll be coming out in a few short moments. So it might be good just to stick around, guys. Hit type 1 in chat if you want to stick around, see if they end up actually having this press conference here together, because I would definitely like to see what they're going to say in regards to all the negotiations that are rolling over right now, and that should be within 5 minutes. But past that, your news is just going to be off and on about all of these tariffs on the, I mean, we're just watching tariff negotiations nonstop here.
And Kelly's letting us know it wasn't Constellation Dag. It was Ben Jorgensen's X account for your information.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Jorgensen's.
Little bit of a difference there. I think I can pull in this. I am trying to do some of this myself here. Add to stage. Boom. No.
I got it pulled up here, so we'll see them coming.
Remove.
The Dodgers are out right now. But yeah, I think we all know in chat that none of the reporters are going to be asking questions about the World Series. Which is kind of sad. It's taken away their moments. But
Josh, I had a pretty interesting fact here. Average cost of all the Bitcoin traded now. They figured it out. I think they call it the aggregate cost, long-term total aggregate cost basis. Yeah. Bitcoin's average price now $43,000. So we're now
for long-term holders
for every Bitcoin in circulation.
Man, that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. So pretty interesting.
$200.
Say what?
That's
now?
crazy. It used to be $200.
Yeah. I mean, just think
All right, here's Trump.
At one point it was pennies.
This is the worst day to celebrate your win at the White House.
Do you have audio?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hearing it. I thought I did.
Guys,
but...
No sound? Give me 1 second. You're not missing anything yet? Oh, it's because of...
Maybe it's there. I feel like I heard it.
Blame the OCD. It was on window. Oh, good.
And I want to congratulate you on a legendary season, and I watched it very closely. Some of those teams were home teams, and you did a big number. You're really amazing how it all came out and how it all ended. With us today is Dodgers owner and chairman Mark Walter. Thank you very much, Mark. Congratulations. President Stan Kasten, one of the greatest managers of the really ever to wear the Dodger blue. Dave Roberts, what a time he's had. That's great. What a job. I think he would have lasted even with George Steinbrenner, right? I love George. He was very quick. He would, you lose 2 games and you were fired. Right? Great job, Dave.
At the end of the day.
Also want to recognize Secretary of Agriculture. We have some great people, Brooke Rollins, who, when I came to office, they said the eggs are gone through the roof. Eggs. said, what the hell are they talking about? I was there for 4 days and they were blaming me for eggs, and they've gone up like 6 times or something, some record number. You couldn't get them. And I gave it to Brooke, and I just saw the other day they're down 73%. Right? That's pretty good. And the press doesn't mention that. Nobody talks about it. So but I know. Secretary of Labor, Lori Chavez de Rimmer. Thank you. Congratulations. The Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, who's a big Dodger fan, by the way. Susie, thank you. And we have also Representatives Kevin Kiley, Congressman Kevin Kiley, Young Kim. Thank you. Congratulations. Great job. Jay Olbernolte. Jay. Thanks, Jay. Nanette Barragan. Nanette, where's the... Hi, Nanette. Oh, look at that, huh? What nice outfit. One of my favorite people, Gus Bilirakis, Congressman. Yes. Addison McDowell, new to the Congress, but doing a great job. Thank you, Addison. A real good baseball player and a friend of mine, Roger Williams. Great job. And another new congressman, but he's been there a long time in a mental sense, because he has really done a job and he knows Congress very well. He was with me for 7 years. Brian Jack. Brian, congratulations, Brian. And others. We have a couple of senators here. I just don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce. Over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team I didn't think it was that big a deal, actually. Washington. Over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team gave us some of the most incredible performances ever seen in the baseball diamond. In all of baseball history, only 6 players have ever hit 40 home runs and stolen 40 bases in a single season. And an elite group known as the 40-40 Club. It's a 40-40 Club, and very few people make it. But unanimous National League MVP, Shohei Ohtani.
That's crazy.
Looks like a movie star. He's got a good future, I'm telling you. Here, think of it, all of them. And he did something even more, because he became the first ever member of the 50-50 Club. So 40-40 is top. Hitting 54 home runs and 59 steals, and accomplished an accomplishment unparalleled in 149 years of Major League Baseball. Think of that. That's just incredible. Even more incredibly, Shohei clinched that achievement in what some have called the greatest game ever. Was it that good of a game? That was a pretty good game, actually, right there. Is he good?
It's only getting better.
And he's getting better.
Getting better.
That's scary for a lot of people, huh? Even more incredibly, Shohei clinched the achievement. I mean, it really was, and at a time that, at an age that nobody ever thought was possible. On September 19th, 2024, he did the unthinkable by going 6 for 6. This is a pretty amazing. I didn't realize it was that good. I saw that game, 6 for 6 against the Marlins with 3 homers, 10 RBIs, and a pair of stolen bases. Other than that, it was not a great game. How many people have gone 6 for 6? Just period, right? Not very much. Right?
Maybe a dozen.
Maybe a dozen. Amazing. As you know, the Dodgers were down a lot of talent on the mound last season due to injury. The resilient group used 40 different pitchers, the most ever by an eventual World Series championship team. They had to go and get them. I don't know how they got them and where they got them, but they got them because they won. I know you especially miss the heart and soul of the pitching staff, Clayton Kershaw, who is really fantastic. These are the best-looking people I've ever seen. It's incredible. But Clayton has been unbelievable, and if you look at his records and you look at the stamina, the endurance that he's had, and we're really happy to have him. I'm glad to meet him. I've watched him for a long time. He's a young guy yet, but I've watched. You are a young guy, but I've watched you for a long time. So congratulations, amazing. All year, the Dodgers faced down adversity. You entered the playoffs battered and bruised, but not broken. When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular. But the starting rotation during the National League Division Series, this scrappy Dodgers bullpen shut out the Padres, saved the season, and forced Game 5. Then key players battled back from midseason injuries to help deliver the National League pennant, including superstars Mookie Betts. Oh, is he good?
Good looking.
Mookie, that guy can play, can't he? I mean, unbelievable. You really, Mookie is, I've been watching it. I don't want to say I watched him when he was on Boston, but I did. I didn't think that was a particularly good trade when they made it, and I happened to be right. And Max Muncy, I want to congratulate Max. Max. Come here, Max. These arms are very strong when I touch them. I'm used to shaking politicians and hitting their armors like Jello, and now it's like steel. All these
That's
guys.
pretty funny.
But Max, that's great, and also Yoshi Yamamoto. Yoshi. Wow, what great athletes. And of course, series MVP, Tommy Edman. That was an MVP series. Good feeling, right? With all these guys, you're the guys, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a lot of talent you had to beat out there for the MVP, but they all had an incredible. Tommy was 407 with 11 RBIs in 6 games. That's not bad, right? That's not bad. Great job. When it counted, too. Next game, the blockbuster World Series against another iconic team known as the New York Yankees. I love the Yankees. George was a great friend of mine. He had very few friends, but he was. And if you want to sit for 9 innings with a game watching the Yankees play with George, you were exhausted by the end of the game. It was actually hard work, but we love George. And they're doing a good job, and they're doing well this season, and you're already 9-2. And so you're doing a good job. Maybe you see the same thing over again. In Game 1 of the World Series, Freddie Freeman, on a sprained ankle. He's a great player with a broken finger and a broken rib, channeled Kirk Gibson's legendary walk-off home run in Game 1 of the 1988 World Series. That was a game that pretty much everybody remembers. He could hardly swing the bat, but he swung it one time, and it was a shot. On the first pitch Freddie saw in the bottom of the 10th, he hit an unforgettable walk-off grand slam home run, the first in World Series history. It's amazing. The Dodgers rode the momentum to win 2 of their next 3 games, placing them on the verge of baseball immortality in the dramatic Game 5, down 5 runs on the top of the 5th. That was a strange inning, I'll tell you. For those Yankee fans, but I'm not saying I was a Yankee fan because I love these people behind me. But down 5 runs in the top of the 5th with 2 outs and the bases loaded, the Dodgers gave us one of the grittiest half-inning World Series events, showings that anybody's ever seen. Mookie started the rally by beating out a routine ground ball to first, which he's fast as hell. I don't know how the hell you can. Having that speed isn't that a great thing? I played baseball, but I was sort of slow. I wasn't fast. Driving in the phenomenal Kike Hernandez. Where's Kike? It's a hell of a group. Then Freddie drove in 2 more runs, and Teoscar Hernandez drove in another couple of runs. That's a group. Teoscar, so you're doing well this season too? Yes, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. After a few dominant innings from Blake Trainin.
Imagine 5 more minutes.
Where's Blake? I heard dominant, right?
I got a call. I'm gonna imagine this goes for another 5 minutes, guys.
Great
Let me
job,
pull up the
Blake.
White House
And the
schedule.
team was crowned the World Series champion against a great team. The Yankees are a great team and always a great franchise. And I guess, I don't know, like 28 or something. They've won a lot, probably, or maybe more than any team in history overall. And you might be catching them pretty soon if you keep going. You got a little ways to go,
he's
I
meeting
guess. The scouting report at the start of the series said that the Dodgers could win by focusing on.
Here, I'm gonna mute that for 2 seconds, guys. So he's meeting with Netanyahu today, which is gonna have open press conference, so pre-credentialed media. Oval by his press pool. The president participated in a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister of Israel, and then president participated in a conference with Israel. Okay, a lot of Israel today. A lot of Israel today. What is tomorrow?
But you see a spirit on the Dodgers, and you don't see it on a lot of teams I turn on. I say, oh, let's forget it.
More press tomorrow.
I like to watch the team, and now that I've gotten to meet these guys,
I don't think they have scheduled.
I like it even more.
Oh, that was yesterday. That was yesterday.
To a great start. After seeing how successfully you've begun the season, I can tell you that you can plan on being back here. I hope you're going to be back here next year. I don't want to give you.
I don't know. We'll see if they end up doing it.
Because we want to have a little suspense for next year, but I will tell you.
Y'all brains are fried. Can't watch it for 5 minutes. No, it's not that we can't watch it. We're covering obviously economics here, guys, not necessarily just baseball. But I'll play it here again. Here you go.
We're going to run them down to the Oval Office, and we're going to show them the fabled Oval Office. And there's nothing like it. And this wonderful owner, one of the greatest owners in sports, by the way, from everything I've heard, one of the greatest owners in
I do need
sports,
my
along with
glasses.
your other compatriots.
I forgot 'em.
fellas? It's a great team of owners, and that's very important. But he said they'd love it, and I think he'd like to do it himself. So we'll get out of here, and we will run. We'll sprint down, and we'll see the Oval Office, which is really something to see. You know? It's funny. People come from all over, the biggest people, the richest people, the most powerful people, and they come and they go into the Oval Office and they just stare. Oh, wow, that's something. They all have beautiful offices. They have offices that are the best in the world in many cases, but they love the Oval Office. So with all of that, I'd like to now introduce you to the Dodgers chairman, Mark Walter, to say.
Okay, so they're just gonna. If you guys gonna want to watch the Dodgers press conference, it looks like they're not gonna get any questions off with the president here. There will be. Maybe I'll go live with this later tonight. It looks like it's at. Let me pull this up again here. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. It is open press at 1 p.m. So as long as they're on schedule, we'll see if there's ends up being some open press here that we get some news out. If not, we'll put out some videos for you guys here on the channel to keep you guys up to date on everything. Other than that, guys, hit that like button, subscribe. We'll be live again, of course, tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. every single day, giving you guys all your latest crypto news, your economic news. Whether you guys agree with us or not, on personal opinions aside, we're here to all navigate this market together, guys. So appreciate all being here. Much love to all of you guys, and we will see you guys here very soon.